It is 5 key freshmen to watch in 2024. We're not talking about transfers. This is on offthehooksports.com right now. We're not talking about transfers. Again, we're not talking about transfers. We're going to go ahead and jump in the hot tub, and that'll be our poll question today. So double dipping in the hot tub with the one, the only Cooper Mays.
So what sounds so dirty?
It does. It sounds awful. It either sounds like we're eating ice cream in a hot tub, or I don't know what we're doing in a hot tub. But Coop, what should people do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you, Coop. Dynasty Pools and Spas brings us 4 downs.
4 Downs brought to you by Dynasty Spas, the most comfortable spas made in the United States of America, right here in East Tennessee. Drop in for the all-new showroom in Athens. Dynasty Spas, perfect for all 4 seasons. 4 Downs, presented by Off the Hook Sports.
I was talking with our friend Scott, and we may be able to give away a hot tub pretty soon here at Dynasty Pools and Spas. But I was talking to my friend Scott, and I was talking about a hot tub that I want in my new place. And I said, I want a small one. And he said, well, we've got a small one that'll be perfect for you and your wife. I don't know, maybe top for you. And then he said, well, you definitely don't want to get in there with Coop because you're going to be a little bit tight. Let's go to First Down, but he has other spas available. And the great part about those spas is they've got all kinds of discounts. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. And no, to the message board, we are not going to talk about transfers. We're going to talk about true freshmen, high school guys that would be awfully nice if they made an impact. So I've got 5 key freshmen in 4 downs. How am I going to make this happen? I think I can do it. First down, Coop.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe. Coop here. First down.
All right. Number 1 on the board. And I think you would agree with most of these, but I am interested to see which ones you agree with. So in the upcoming class, I have a gentleman called Boo Carter. I don't think that's any surprise. He's number 1. I think you and I, if we had to bet, we think that he will start quite possibly, or at least play significantly in the secondary. I have very little doubt about that. So I don't think I broke any major news on that one. Your thoughts on Boo Carter, and what do you expect him to do in year 1?
I am expecting a Eric Berry type of freshman season in the secondary.
Whoa!
For Boo Carter, year 1. Yeah, I'm seeing freshman All-American. I mean, I think we're going to see a really, really, really epic player in Boo Carter in the secondary, and we're going to fall in love with him pretty quickly. And I think, unlike Larry Slade, I think Tim Banks and even Willie Martinez will say, we don't care that he's a freshman. We should start this guy. Okay. Because Larry Slade started Gerard Parrish over Eric Berry's first game.
And he kind of ran Deion Grant off, but that's another story. So, all right. Well, that's pretty strong. If he's anything like Eric Berry, if he's 75% of the player that Eric Berry was, I think that Tennessee's in pretty good shape.
I don't expect him to have Eric Berry's like overall success. I just expect him to have a freshman year similar to Eric Berry's freshman year. Put it that way.
Gotcha. By the way, hey, I was looking at the Twitter here. Dalton Connect is trending. He must be pretty good. All right, what down, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right, second down, Coop. We're going to go with a running back named Peyton Lewis. I know about Cam Selden. I know that he's probably going to be the go-to back. I know about Khalifa Keith. I know he's probably going to be the power back. But Peyton Lewis, and you have Dylan Sampson, obviously, who I just forgot. Dylan Sampson would be the lead back, but maybe not because of his size. Either way you want to look at it, I think there's room for Peyton Lewis, and running backs can make the transition pretty easily.
Yeah, the problem with Peyton Lewis, I agree. The problem with Peyton Lewis is that he's not going to be a spring enrollee, so he's not going to get there till the summer, so he's going to miss a lot of development. And the only development that matters for running back is pass blocking, but you want to develop that. And so,
but I'll be honest with you. I think if you take pride in that, I don't think it's that difficult.
And that's and hopefully he does. You're right. Because as we know, Cam Selden doesn't care to pass block. And I don't care what anybody says. It's funny you say that. I firmly believe Dylan Sampson's lack of pass blocking is out of laziness, not out of development. He doesn't
Okay.
care to pass block. He's protecting himself. Cam Seldon, I understand you guys are high on him, but it's got to be Peyton Lewis because Cam Seldon can't see holes at all. He has no vision whatsoever.
Okay, so I have number 4 on my list, and it is brought to you by, again, our friends at Dynasty Pools and Spas, and it's a couple of wide receivers. I cheated a little bit to get some more guys in there, okay? So I did cheat, and we've got some bonuses coming up as well, but I combined Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley. You and I, my favorite watching tape is Matthews, but I don't think it's a clear-cut situation. Randy Moss, Leonard Scott. Oh, Leonard Scott, random shot. I don't think it's a clear-cut situation, so I just said one of those two. I cheated a little bit as one of the players that could have a major impact. So I put those on the same listing on what down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Thank you. Matthews, Staley, one, I believe, will have an impact, even though Tennessee is okay at wide receiver as long as Brew McCoy is healthy.
I think they're loaded at wide receiver, and I think that's the only reason these guys won't have an impact. But I would give you Matthews because Matthews has rare talent. Now, I say this as the guy who scouted Dante Thornton and thought he had rare talent last year, and I missed on that. But I'm going to try again. I'm like the Titans drafting receivers, guys. I just keep missing. So, except for A.J. Brown. They nailed that, and then they trade him. But Mike Matthews has rare talent. He is one of those physical receivers like a Brew McCoy in the past, but he has much more speed. So, look, I'm going like, I see more like 2001 pre-injury Kelly Washington mismatches for Mike Matthews.
Okay. Well, now people are poking fun at something that Derek said, but Derek said Heupel converts a tight end to running back for pass pro this year. Just kidding. I don't think that's necessarily just kidding. We've seen Princeton Fant line up in the backfield before. What if they decide to do on a goal line situation a max protect and you have a little crossing route in the end zone to a receiver? I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. As a matter of fact, I don't know it, but I wouldn't have been surprised if Princeton Fant out of the running back position may have pass protected one time. I don't think he did, but I don't want to say 110%. So Coop, what down are we at now?
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
Man, Cooper, nobody brings it like you. It's just an absolute fact. All right. Jake Merklinger. And here's why I said Jake Merklinger. Because Gaston Moore has limitations. We would all agree with that. Jake Merklinger, you would like to see, and these are people you would like to see it have an impact, not that will have an impact. But if he gets in there and he is the guy behind Nico, I think you're very, very optimistic about Tennessee's quarterback future because you might get to keep him another year. I don't think he's going to unseat Nico anytime. And as a matter of fact, if I had a bet, I think Merklinger ends up, I think he ends up transferring. And I'm going to tell you why here in a little bit because it has to do with Carson Beck. But I think you'd like to see Merklinger go out there and have some ability, have some games in which he plays well to show that hey, he has that type of ability. And let's not forget, you brought up a lot, and I can provide some insight for a family close to Nico, but you can provide some insight as to your thoughts on Nico's size. He needs to gain weight. Injuries can happen. We saw that this season. I mean, Merklinger might have to play, and I think Merklinger's ability and Gaston Moore's is a pretty significant drop-off.
Yes, a giant drop-off. And every quarterback that's played under Heupel at Tennessee so far, which is only 2, have missed games because they got hurt. Joe Milton got hurt a couple of times, which is how Hendon Hooker became the starter. And we know that Hendon Hooker got knocked out of 2 games and then had a season-ending injury in 2022. So it's obviously always a threat. This is why you want to at least in the age of NIL, you're not going to have more than 2 quarterbacks on the roster. You've always brought that up, but you do need to have 2, right? You need 2 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster no matter what. And so, yeah, Merklinger, he needs to be ready to go if his number's called. And I feel like he probably will be, but yeah, I don't think he'll be Nico level. I think Nico's the size he needs to be now. I said this. I talked about Nico's size in September and October. I always thought by January he'd be ready to go, and he's ready to go. Nico's fully ready to go.
He's going to get bigger. He's going to get bigger. His dad, I was told by somebody, solid 6'7", 6'8". Now, I'm not saying he's going to grow anymore, but he's an extremely thick young man. So is Madden, his little brother. So I don't think the weight's going to be an issue any longer. I didn't really think it was as much of an issue as you, but I understood the point as last year, but he's going to thicken up, I think, way beyond what we believe. Let's put it this way. If Bryce Young's on the small scale, right, and Josh Allen is on the big scale of NFL quarterbacks, Nico Iamaleava will leave Tennessee closer to Josh Allen than he will Bryce Young. No question.
Dave is salivating about Nico's muscles, guys. He is just,
I didn't say muscles. I just said size, filling out.
Hey there, muscly arms. What was it? You love the Her for Family Guy joke?
I do that. Get your big ass back here. I don't think Nico has a problem with size at all. And then I got a bonus for you.
Sorry.
What? And then I got a bonus for you. I didn't mean to say it like that. I got a bonus for you coming up of the players that need to have or could have big years this year that would inspire optimism. And that's on offthehooksports.com. Please take me just a second, hit that like and subscribe button. I never, ever pick or depend on offensive or defensive linemen to compete in the NCAA and especially the SEC in year one. But I got one to keep an eye on based off the conversation that I had with some people yesterday as I'm out and about. By the way, for those that didn't know, I lived in Chattanooga for a long time until last Friday. So if you want a lot more news, you're going to get a lot more news because I'm around a lot of dudes on a regular occasion. What? That sounds weird. 60 seconds. Mention Off the Hook Sports. Get $500 off, and I'll tell you about the offensive lineman that could have an impact this year. Having the best spas made right here in the United States of America in your backyard. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Their showroom is open in Athens, right off the interstate. You can stop by and check out the best hot tubs and spas in the market. And then delivery, yes, they can do that to Knoxville or Chattanooga. They've got complete support, spa cover, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. They also have pool chemicals as well. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton, and no one will ever notice. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastypoolsandspas.com or stop by that showroom in Athens. dynastypoolsandspas.com. Dynasty Pools and Spas. All right, bonus coverage. I gave you another one on offthehooksports.com. And all you have to do is go to offthehooksports.com, but don't do it now because I'm going to go ahead and tell you about who it is. Bonus coverage?
That's hot.
All right. So we go to an offensive lineman, Max Anderson, the highest rated offensive lineman that Tennessee has. And I don't think he needs to play barring injury this year, barring a serious run of injuries, because Tennessee has some backups ready to go. But if he can play sparingly and at his size at 6'5", 300 pounds, could this be the first offensive tackle that Tennessee has grown up through the system? I mean, because I don't know who the next guy is for sure, but it's been mostly transfers. But Max Anderson, if he shows any sort of positivity in his play, I think you get really excited about Tennessee's ability to build an offensive line through high school recruiting. And that to me is always going to be more significant.
So, well, when you say through the system, you mean through Josh Heupel's system, right? Because like Darnell Wright, Cooper Mays, they were freshmen who developed through the system, but they just didn't commit to Heupel.
Yes. Josh Heupel's dudes. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. That's very possible. Because to this point, I mean, we haven't, there have been issues with Lyman Heupel has scouted. The thing about Max Anderson, it's funny you say that's what you've heard, because what have we always said about Texas recruits, Dave? We say they're overrated because they've already come close to hitting their ceiling as Texas kids because they're coached so well in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that has something to do with it? Max Anderson coming out of Frisco, Texas, he's already close to his ceiling because he's been coached so well in high school?
Well, I feel like if I say that, Caleb, that you're kind of painting me in a corner a little bit. I feel like you'd say he would be an early impact guy and then kind of level off. So I don't want to say that, but I see what you're driving at. I think he's more likely to get on the field because he's
kind of like this. And this guy wasn't from Texas. This guy wasn't from Texas, and I don't want to throw him under the bus because he's actually one of the greatest people to ever play at Tennessee. But, Michael Munoz was an early guy, right? He was an early impact guy, but didn't show as much growth as a player at Tennessee, right? He was already pretty well coached and developed and refined when he got to Tennessee.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So I want to ask you now know my list. It is on offthehooksports.com. So let's go ahead and say, what true freshman do you expect to have an impact in 2004? So, you give me your 4. Yeah, I gave you my 4, 5, 6, maybe, but you give me your 4.
All right, so I'm with you with Peyton Lewis and Boo Carter. Those, I think, are the top 2 just right out of the gate. I'm going to throw in another guy real quick that's going to be interesting to you, but I'm going to throw in Jordan Ross. With Tyler Barron hitting the transfer portal, they're looking for another effective edge rusher opposite James Pierce, and I think they want to run some rotational guys. So I think Jordan Ross is actually going to be a real splash player as an edge rusher. And then my 4th guy that's going to be an impact player, it's a little bit trickier to figure out, but I'm probably going to lean on your side here somewhat and say it's between Mike Matthews and Jake Merklinger. Jake Merklinger, I would say, just by sheer chance of Nico getting hurt, because quarterbacks can get hurt. But Mike Matthews, I think Mike Matthews has such raw talent, Dave. I think he could win a starting job. But the only reason I wouldn't put him to do that is because, as you know, Josh Heupel is very preferential to the guys to seniority, to a fault sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna quote the gentleman who played in the Green Mile. I believe he's no longer with us, so rest his soul. But he was in Talladega Nights. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, when you mentioned Nico possibly getting hurt, I'm going to say, don't you put that curse on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that evil on me.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. So I'm not even going to include him out of respect for our great fans. So what
hope you have sons.
Yes.
Handsome, beautiful, articulate sons.
What true freshman do you expect to have an impact in 2024? We got defensive back Boo Carter, running back Peyton Lewis, edge Jordan Ross, wide receiver Mike Matthews. Go ahead and vote right there on our YouTube page. Be interested what you would have to say. And we might just do another 4 tomorrow, because I feel like we left some guys out because we only have 4 entries. Yes, Joseph, you're correct. Caleb's shirt looks like a modern art masterpiece. It is not the Louvre. It is the that's exactly what it's not in the Louvre. It's in the
whatever.
It's in the
it's the Louvre. It's the Louvre.
I don't think that's how it's pronounced.
It's not in the Louvre. It's the Louvre.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it's pronounced.